The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I just got done with my live fight reaction for the Joyce versus Carlos Takam undercard for the whole card. If you weren't part of the 6,000 plus strong that were there, then you really missed out, and you have your next opportunity to join us on our next live fight reaction extravaganza when Conor Ben takes on Adrian Granado. So make your plans for that. Now, as far as this fight goes with Joyce and Carlos Takam, it was a good heavyweight scrap. You know, it was a fight where the perception coming in was that Joyce was supposed to blow right through Carlos Takam, and you know, eventually he wound up doing that. You know, he got him out of there in the 6th round, just like I predicted. You know, I got it right. You know, a lot of times you guys say I get these things wrong, but I didn't just pick the outcome right. I picked the round right, which is very hard to do, even when you get the fights right. So it was a fight where early on you saw Carlos Takam trying to be a patient counter puncher, moving a lot around the ring, trying to use his height disadvantage to his advantage. So a lot of times Joyce would throw these lazy jabs, or he would have a hard time getting his range established. And a lot of times when he would land jabs, like if he would land a grazing jab coming forward on Takam would just kind of, even if it touched him a little bit, slip his head to the outside and throw the overhand right over the top. And he fought a good fight early on. What unfortunately was Takam's ultimate undoing. His ultimate undoing was the fact that, you know, he wasn't able to get the respect of Joyce. There wasn't enough pop in those punches. Those punches were not grown man enough of punches to hurt Joyce, and that's not surprising because we saw Daniel Dubois hit Joyce with punches and it didn't have any effect on him. The two things Joyce has is he's got a great chin, great chin, great stamina, and he knows how to finish you. You know, he gets a F for style points, but he gets an A for the qualities that you need to have to win. Because, like, I'm gonna quote my man Fresh BX. Hopefully he sees this, because I know Joyce is one of his favorite fighters. But Fresh BX said on the live, he said, "It's not about what people like, and it's not about what looks good, but it's about what's effective." And people can hate on Joyce. They can say aesthetically he's not the best heavyweight in the world. He's not the most aesthetically pleasing heavyweight in the world. You know, he gets hit a lot, more than he should. You know, sometimes he looks garbage. He looks like trash sometimes, but, you know, he knows how to find those punches that break you down. And a lot of time when you watch him, he's hitting guys with punches that don't look hard, but they're having an effect. And that's the name of the game in boxing, is effectiveness. And it don't matter if it looks good or if it looks like trash, as long as it's effective. The great Evander Holyfield once told me a long time ago, he said, you got to fight the fight that works for you. And Joyce's fight has been fighting the fights that work for him, and it got him to being a medalist, I think a bronze medalist or silver medalist in the Olympics. It got him to, you know, a 13-0 record with 12 knockouts. It got him to being the mandatory challenger for Joshua versus Usyk in the WBO. So he has to stick with what he knows best, and what he knows best is how to break people down. What he knows best is how to dissect people with the jab, and what he knows best is to use his advantages to his advantage. You know. So overall, a good performance from Joyce towards the end of the fight. When he hurt Takam, he just stayed on top of him and imposed his will on Takam until the referee called the fight off. And you know, there were a lot of there were a lot of people in my live saying that they think this fight was fixed, that there was a corrupt stoppage, that it was a bad stoppage. And look, I could definitely see where they're coming from, because, you know, Takam wasn't sprawled out on the canvas, he wasn't knocked down or anything like that. But at the same time, you know, when you're getting hit repeatedly with unanswered punches over and over and over again, and you don't throw any punches back, you are leaving it up to the referee's interpretation, and anything that happens from that point forward is your fault. You know, like when at least I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for me. Many years ago, when I first learned how to box at Canilo's Boxing Gym, you know, big up Canilo's Boxing Gym in Dania. You know, when I first went there, I remember I had a sparring session, and I wasn't doing so good. I wasn't doing so good in the sparring session, and I was taking too many punches, and I wasn't throwing back the way I should have threw back. And I remember my trainer pulled me aside and said, "Hey, Brendan, you can't be this way, because if you leave this in the judge's hands, if you keep taking these punches unanswered, they're going to wave the fight off." And it kind of, watching Takam and the way he was taking these punches from Joyce, it brought me back to that. So, you know, is it a questionable stoppage? You could say that, but I don't think it's a bad stoppage, and I don't think it was a fix. With that being said, Joyce maintains his position as WBO mandatory, and The question now becomes two things: when will he get his shot, and when will he get his shot, and when and who will he fight next? So I don't think he's gonna get a shot anytime soon because Joshua and Usyk are gonna fight on the 25th of September, and then he doesn't gotta get a shot for like another year. So I think Joshua will wait the year period before he gives him his shot. And in that meantime, he's gonna have to fight other people. So you know, when you look at the rankings in the top 15 of the WBO, there's interesting fights out there for Joyce. Two fights in particular really stick out to me. Number one is a fight with Joseph Parker, who is highly ranked in the WBO as well. That's a good fight and a winnable fight for Joyce because Parker, as for the issues that Joyce has, Parker has his own set of issues, you know. And I think that'd be a good fight. And then you could also have a rematch of a fight that happened in the World Series of Boxing between Filip Hrgovic and Joyce. And I would love that fight because, as you guys know, I'm a very big on Filip Hrgovic. You know, I'm the vice president of the Filip Hrgovic fan club. You know, I really believe in Filip Hrgovic, and I think he's got the goods to become champion one day. And you know, he had that fight where he was really young and Joyce was like 27, and I think he was like 19 or 20. You know, so obviously you mature, people change. But I would like to see this fight in the pros as well. So there's some good fights out there for Joyce. But as far as this fight goes with Takam, good fight. You know, as far as Carlos Takam, he's given us a lot of good fights over the years. And if that's going to be it for him, if he's going to hang him up soon, or if that's it for him at the top level, then I appreciate him for the great career that he has had, because he's delivered. He always comes to fight. He always gives it his best efforts. But once again, it wasn't his night tonight. So you know, make of that what you will. But that's the news. Joyce stops Carlos Takam in 6 rounds and adds another good resume to the heavyweight to his resume. So yeah, man, shout out to the Juggernaut. And yeah, he even did it. He even did it. And I can't make this video without saying this. He even did it wearing that ridiculous, stupid hat he had on. He really took Deontay Wilder's costume antics and took it to the next level with that helmet he had on. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go Google it. Joyce he looked like a straight fool, but you know, he was able to get the job done, and despite the fact that he looked like a fool on the way to the ring. But yeah, leave your comments down below. Who do you want to see Joyce fight next? What did you make of the fight with Takam? Just leave all that down below. Take the time to subscribe, and like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.